Hey, this is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, home of Salsa, Florida, coming to you with the Daily Word for Men for January 5th, 2025. And the word is abiding. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. And that is from John 15, verse 4, New King James Version. Jesus was relevant in his teaching. He spoke with shepherds about sheep, wine growers about vineyards, and rulers about authority. What would he say to you to make his message relevant? This scripture has a dual purpose, encouraging us to remain connected to him and to comply with what he asks. Abiding is not just being coupled to him, but to act in obedience to him. So Jesus encourages us to remain in him and in hearing his words, abide by them. In today's world, all measure of truth is subject to the individual, and our relativistic society disregards the concept of objective truth. This means, as followers of Christ, we bear a burden to remain allied with him and to adhere to the truth that he states. If we want if we want to bear fruit, we must do more than just stay with him. We must also produce what he asks. And the question for us today is, in sitting and being with Jesus, what do you hear him asking of you? Uh, Before I begin to answer that question, one of the benefits of reading both the Old Testament and the New Testament, reading it through on a regular basis, is that you can see that this is the theme of being fruitful, running all the way from Genesis through to Revelation. Uh, and Christ cursed plants that did not yield fruit, particularly the grape plant, because even some, say, like you got a tree and then maybe it got hit by lightning, it just dies. It's good for wood to build a home, but the grape plant is good for nothing. You can't get any wood out of it. And he made that point. And the point was made in the Old Testament too. And one of the be fruitful and multiply. That was one of the commands God gave, one of the first commands. So it's very clear that being fruitful is important to God, not just hearing and listening, but producing fruit. Uh, and I hear him asking me to be faithful to the end, whether it's a natural end or, he comes again before I die, remain faithful. Uh, and that's what I plan to do. I try to do. We all sin and fall short of the glory of God, but I want to remain faithful to his word. And once again, I know I push studying the Bible. I do it regularly. I make it through the Bible in about a year and 2 months. I was so busy between Christmas and New Year's that I didn't do my regular daily, so I'm behind. But the system I set up is not dependent on a particular day. I really dislike those that you get, someone will give you a Bible study thing and it starts January 1st. And as you get farther behind, it weighs down on you and you say, oh, well, I'll never catch up. I've got 5 days here, and then something happens and you can't do it in 7 days. With my system, you just keep going from one end to the other. 3 chapters a day in the Old Testament, 3 chapters a day in the New Testament. I cycle around about 5 times on the New Testament, uh, but eventually you get done. And you don't have that hanging over your head that I have to get this done in a year. Uh, God doesn't count years. So it's important that we not only obey God, don't do this, don't do that, but be fruitful. And that comes from the one closest to him, John the Evangelist, and very, very powerful words. Abide in me and I in you. So I wish you all a safe and holy day, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless.